If you're ever thinking about starting a YouTube channel, don't start one.
Especially if you not get a camera and everything and you're just filming on your iPhone in front of a window, but the window is on the wrong side of the house, so the sun is moving this way and you're not getting enough light, you don't have a ring light, and you also don't have a tripod.
Anyway, hi guys, I'm Christian. Welcome to my channel. This video is going to be just me breaking down my predictions of what I believe the trends for fall and winter of 2020 are going to be. Let's just jump right into it. So these trends and things are going to be ones that I saw on runway shows that I've picked up. So some of the houses that I used for reference were like Gucci, Dolce & Gabbana, Alexander McQueen, Valentino. Starting with just like some of the silhouettes and things that I think are going to be popular for later this year is like A-line and fit and flare styles. And I'll try to put pictures somewhere in here, but kudos to all of you guys who actually do this YouTube thing, because y'all deserve like a master's degree in graphic design trying to do all this stuff. So if I can figure it out, we'll put some pictures in here, and if not, I will just do my best to explain. But a lot of that hourglass and like triangle type shapes are going to be really popular for skirts and dresses this fall. A lot of people like fit and flare because they kind of give you that illusion of having a smaller waist or A-line. They're really, most people look good in like an A-line silhouette. And with it being 2020, I had this idea that style and fashion was going to kind of go back to like the roaring 20s and kind of repeat some of the things like that. And hourglass shapes, of course, weren't popular then, but more of these just classic silhouettes that we've seen in the past, I thought were going to start coming back. So I guess I still kind of think that because I don't think that designers, of course, have redone their collections or whatever just because of everything that's gone on. These shows were put out in like the spring when everything was kind of on the cusp of closing. Anyhow, yeah, that was kind of a tangent, but yeah, hourglass shapes with dresses and skirts and things like that. And then I also think there's going to be an emphasis with that on kind of wide and exaggerated shoulders. So the whole puff sleeve and big romantic sleeve styles that we've seen, I think is going to continue to stay with us. It really will just kind of help that hourglass illusion of a bigger skirt and exaggerated shoulders and tiny waist. To kind of play off of that, I think that some of the looks that are going to be really popular this year are like military and utility inspired, and so that kind of goes again with like the big shoulders and the shoulder pads and things like that. With the idea of military and like utility, the boiler jumpsuits and things have been really popular lately, probably maybe even since last fall, maybe not even since this year, but maybe the end of last year. And I think that those are going to continue to be really popular. And in my other, predictions video that I made on my Instagram, I was saying that we were going to go back to this kind of tailored suiting that was really popular in like the 20s through the 40s. And so I think that we're still going to visit that in the fall with this whole military and utility aesthetic. So this is like the wide shoulders with the shoulder pads, having very kind of tailored suit and pants, or even three-piece suits. Suits, even not even in just menswear, but in women's wear, is going to be really popular as well. People have been doing this kind of play on like vintage styles and making them more modern and kind of like streetwear, which I really thought was cool. So I think the whole wearing trousers, just like slacks, trousers instead of pants, is going to be really popular as well. And just like my everyday life, I love to style those with, like a graphic t-shirt or something like that. That's not really what we're talking about, but I can make another video on that too. And I think I said blazers already, but that kind of goes for coats and suits as things as well. So blazers or like the long kind of trench coats, I think they're going to be, they might have pockets and things for the utility style, but I think it's otherwise going to be pretty clean lines and just a lot of kind of bigger, sharp lapels, exaggerated shoulders, and like double-breasted coats I think will be really popular as well. And then I was kind of confused on how I was going to do these groupings, but since I was saying military and utility, I want to touch on combat boots as well. A lot of people have been kind of wearing the Doc Marten style shoes, well, Doc Martens and Doc Marten style shoes, and Doc Marten recently did one that just looks like a Chelsea boot too. I've seen a lot of those, and I think it was in Dolce & Gabbana's show, but I think that that's going to be something that sticks with us too. That if you were in your prime in like 2016 Tumblr girl aesthetic, this winter could be your year. So yeah, wearing combat boots even with just like tights and your skirts and dresses and things, or with those kind of like jumpsuits and things too. So another look that I think is going to be pretty popular is, I don't want to say that it's preppy, but kind of a preppy inspired look. So think like just more classic pieces and more classic pieces. So I'm talking about like, think uniform wear and the pleated skirts that people had to wear, things like that. Cardigans, which cardigans are kind of always in for fall and winter, of course. But wearing cardigans with like your skirts and things, and oversized cardigans at that, instead of this kind of neat tailored look. However, wearing kind of like a preppy like striped sweater and tucking it into some trousers, like I was saying, that whole kind of vintage aesthetic is really into. So it could go one way or the other, like really clean cut, preppy like 50s kind of looking styles, or the oversized cardigan and the play on like a pleated kind of school girl uniform skirt transitioned into modern day. And then knee socks as well. So like I was saying, if your aesthetic was that whole Tumblr in 2016, it's gonna be a good winter for you, because I think knee socks are coming back in style, and they're gonna be a really popular accessory to wear with like skirts and things like that. And I'll touch a little bit more on accessories later at the end, because I think accessories in general are gonna be really popular too, and I'll mention why later. I didn't see a bunch of prints that I thought were gonna be really popular, nothing that just stood out. I feel like leopard kind of always makes a comeback. It's one of those things that people just consider a neutral now, because it never goes out of style. I think snake print is still gonna kind of ride it out a little bit longer, especially with Christian Dior's pre-fall 2020 show that was in Miami. There was a lot of python kind of prints in there, and someone else that I saw too is doing snake print, and I can't remember. So I think snake prints, and not even just black and white, but like browns and tans and colorful snake prints are still going to be popular as we go throughout the rest of this year. However, other than that, there wasn't really a big pattern that stuck out to me. A lot of classic winter patterns like plaids and Glen plaids are going to be really big, of course. They always are. And I think that kind of fits into that preppy and classic vintage aesthetic as well. Polka dots, which I'm excited about, I think are going to continue to ride it out until the end of this year too. So polka dots were going to be really big for the spring. It's kind of what I put my money on, and like I said, I feel like we haven't really got to buy and do a whole lot. But I think polka dots in more fall colorways are going to continue to be popular, or even polka dots in just the classic black and white colorway as well. One of the trends that I also said was going to be pretty in for spring was skirts and dresses with like tiers of ruffles, different layers, if you can imagine that. Like the tiers, like ruffles, and then also fringe was a thing that I noticed as well. So kind of fringe tiers, or even just like fringe skirts as well, which I kind of think goes in with the pleats that I was talking about. Fringe, if you wanted to stretch and say, could be kind of like a different kind of take on pleats. Imagine if you just cut the pleats apart, and then you would probably have fringe. But fringe skirts and bottoms, not necessarily jackets and things. So fringe on skirts and dresses, and then also fringe on the end of pants. I did see that too, which I thought was really cool. Skirt lengths will be midi and maxi, which have been popular for a little bit, although I think with the whole like Y2K thing going on back to the 2000s, skirt lengths began to shorten. And of course you're probably like, well, yeah, you wouldn't wear a short skirt in the winter time. You could with tights, very like Chanel thing to do, the tweed skirts and whatnot. But I'm thinking midi and maxi skirts, and that's how we're really gonna get that tiered and ruffled effect with all those different lengths is like that. So moving on into kind of like textures and fabrics, one thing that I also noticed a lot of was mesh and kind of airy fabrics, which seems kind of weird because it's winter and it's cold, but I think that we're gonna play a lot with the texture as well. So wearing like those kind of mesh light see-through tops with like a chunky knit sweater, or with a leather jacket over, or with those oversized cardigans and things like that, I think is going to be a really cool play on texture as well. And I've seen a lot of in skirts and dresses too, using not necessarily mesh, probably like organza, if you guys know what that is, which is, it looks a lot like mesh. It's just that airy kind of fabric, or like chiffon. So like organza, chiffons, mesh, and using a lot of lighter, airy fabrics for skirts and dresses, which seems kind of counterintuitive to winter, but it looks really cool when you pair it with something a little bit heavier, like a chunky knit or a leather, like that, and kind of having that juxtaposition. I did see a lot of leather as well, which I think is always kind of a thing, but black leather, and not like a traditional like moto jacket or leather jacket, but leather jacket pieces, leather skirts, leather thigh-high boots. So let's move on to colors then. So the popular colors that I saw for this winter was a lot of blacks, which of course you think like black is a fall and winter color, just like white is a summer color. A lot of the color palettes and things that I noticed that are going to be big for this fall and winter are like true winter and jewel tones. And if you don't know what those are, I think I'm gonna make a video too, or a collaboration of videos of how to pick colors for yourself, and so you break that down, or people will break that down for easier understanding into spring, summer, and winter and fall. For winter, it's gonna be, think jewel tones, so like your reds, deep purples like eggplant, like emerald greens, true blacks, true like winter whites, things like that, which are all have more blue base to them and cooler toned. However, some of them are going to be vibrant, and I will say I saw a lot of red. So I think red is going to be the big like in color this year, even though Pantone said the color of the year is classic blue. It is. But for fall and winter, I think we're going to see a lot of red start to appear. Anyway, so when I'm talking about jewel tones, if you think that true red, not like a scarlet, a true blue-based red, kind of an eggplanty, like royal purple, an emerald green, really deep blacks, whites, but in a muted, matte sort of way. So they're still really vibrant, like really deeply hued, but softer, if that makes sense. And that will be good for people because, well, I don't really know. I don't know what the percentage is, but I feel like a lot of people don't really wear jewel tones that well because they can be kind of overpowering and make people look washed out. Like, a lot of people were like, oh, Christian, you could wear any color, but really, I can't. Let me tell you, I can't wear jewel tones because in the winter I start to get really yellow with my undertones, and it just makes me look really sick. So people that can wear jewel tones, good for you, but I think the kind of muted ones are going to be better and more, just work well with more people. Metallics aren't really colors, but I wanted to add this in as well. I've seen a lot of metallics, which is usually popular because, you know, as we go into fall, into winter, it's the holiday season, and so people do sequins and shimmers and things like that. But I think they're going to be really popular this year, and for a long time, gold has kind of made a comeback, and I'm not saying that silver and like jewelry is coming back, but I do think that silver and kind of cooler metallics are going to be really big this winter too. So, you know, just think silver, gunmetals, black shimmers and sparkles instead of the brighter like gold and rose gold tones and things like that. Which is another cool way, I think, if you're layering with something like mesh or leather, to play with textures and things like that too. And then the last thing that I wanted to say that I touched on kind of before, accessories. And I didn't see like one type of accessory that was going to be like, oh, the big accessory of this fall and winter. I did kind of notice a lot of scarves, which I think have been making a comeback. People wearing silk scarves around their head or like as tops and things like that. And so I think that that's going to continue, and it kind of goes along with that classic preppy kind of vintage clean cut look. So I think that scarves are going to be in, but silk scarves, not like the big infinity scarves and whatever that we were doing. And then also, like I said, knee socks are coming back. I also noticed tights, which a lot of people just kind of generally wear tights anyway when it's winter underneath your skirts and things. But printed or like colored kind of opaque tights instead of just like a sheer pantyhose. And that would be really cool to throw on underneath a dress, like if you were doing a monochrome outfit. If I had on like a red dress and did like a blush or kind of pink tight to play with the color there and kind of give some dimension to my outfit. I'm meaning things like that are gonna be in and cool. Then I did notice a lot of like larger dangly earrings as well. And I feel like we've kind of had this trend of a smaller, like minimal jewelry, and I don't know if people will necessarily make the change into those big dangle earrings too. Not everybody likes that, but I did notice a lot of them, especially with the metallics and stuff, like big glittery like rhinestone type earrings and things. I think are going to be really popular as well. And then I just wanted to say that accessories for the next 6 months to a year are probably going to be a really good thing to invest in, because just kind of like cyclically or historically, I guess, when the economy has been low or whatever, think we've all been in quarantine and stuff like that. Some people haven't gotten to go to work and been making money and things like that. So yes, when we get out, people will want to buy things, and there will be people buying things, but I don't know how many people are going to have the money to just buy like a whole new fall and winter wardrobe. So accessories are one of those things that are really good during times of a recession or during times of like a lower economy, because companies can sell those and I can buy those things and you guys can buy those things and kind of refresh the outfits and the pieces that we already have. So, you know, jewelry, belts, scarves, gloves, handbags, whatever. I think we're just going to see a lot more of those in general on maybe a more simple, I don't want to say plain, but maybe a more simple outfit and just spicing it up with accessories. So yeah, those are my fall and winter 2020 predictions, and I guess, you know, we can wait until the end of this year or wait until fall comes around and see what we start seeing and if those were actually correct. I'd love to know too, though, what you guys think is going to be big for the fall and winter too, or if you even care. And you can leave that down in the comments below. Tell me what you think is going to be big, or tell me what you'd like to see more of, or if there's any trends that you have been noticing that you're going to be really excited for. And like I said, I think I might make some more videos for sure on just like how to pick the colors for yourself, and what colors you might look best in, and then do like an explanation of what I mean by a color season and things like that. But for now, I think this is it. You guys bear with me as I'm learning to put these pictures. This is probably going to be my first video, if not the first, on this channel. And I'm excited to share a lot more about trends and fashion and styling and everything else with you guys. So if you're interested with that, go ahead and like this video and subscribe to it so you don't miss when I post more. And I think that's it. So thanks.